8:18 a.m., November 12, 2025. A catastrophic fireball erupted deep inside Russia's Engels 2 airbase. A single Ukrainian MiG-29 had dropped 2 JDAM ER bombs, and in a matter of seconds, 5 Tu-95 strategic bombers worth $2.5 billion were reduced to twisted metal and flames. All of it happened under the nose of a supposedly impenetrable $1.2 billion S-400 air defense system. This is the story of the impossible 11-minute flight that made it happen. From a hardened underground base near Sumy, the twin RD-33MK engines of an aging MiG-29 roared to life, each one pushing nearly 19,400 pounds of thrust. For a few seconds, the pilot call-sign Ghost was a creature built for the open sky. Then he forced the jet low, pushing the nose down until the radar altimeter screamed at 164 feet above the ground. Flying any lower meant death. Flying higher meant detection. To avoid Russia's massive Voron DM early warning radar, he banked sharply, hugging a narrow valley that traced the Belarusian border. His radar stayed off, his radio stayed silent. In that cockpit, Ghost flew blind, guided only by a Ukrainian-built inertial navigation system, something like a scaled-up smartphone gyroscope, accurate to within a few dozen feet, even after hundreds of miles. On his HUD, waypoints glowed faintly, tracing the curves of the Volga River like breadcrumbs, leading him into enemy territory. Then his target appeared on the screen, 5 massive radar signatures. 5 Tu-95 Bear bombers, each the size of an apartment building, each capable of unleashing 16 Kh-101 cruise missiles, all of them sleeping quietly inside a single hangar. Total value, $2.5 billion. To hit them, he had to skirt the very edge of the Valley of Death. His tactical display showed a massive pulsing red circle, the 250-mile kill zone of the S-400 gravestone system, capable of tracking hundreds of targets at once. Other threats blinked around him too. Igla teams, waiting on rooftops, panzer units lurking in villages. Ghost's mission wasn't a swarm attack. It was surgical precision, executed with 3 instruments. A Shark UAV flying 12 miles ahead of him, giving final GPS updates. A Bukovel electronic warfare station 50 miles behind him, pumping out enough jamming to create dozens of phantom targets. And Ghost himself, flying within a river valley where mist and water vapor scattered his heat signature into the cold night. Everything was perfect until the first missile launched. A streak of light shot upward from a riverside checkpoint. An Igla. Ghost pulled a brutal 9G left turn, the force nearly tearing his body apart. The missile overshot and vanished into the dark, but the bright launch plume served as a flare to the entire Russian air defense grid. A Pantsir S-1 battery on a nearby hill powered on instantly. Ghost pushed to 460 miles per hour, skimming over the river so low the wake behind his jet distorted the surface. Power, lines, bridges, and riverbanks created momentary radar shadows that kept him alive second to second. Meanwhile, inside a fortified bunker, an S-400 operator cursed at his screen. The Ukrainian jamming field was flooding him with false targets. He fired a 48N6 DM missile anyway, a $2 million shot that exploded into empty sky. Ghost didn't have time to celebrate. Directly ahead, 3 simultaneous smoke trails erupted from a rooftop. 3 Iglas converged on him. No radar warning, no time, only instinct. He threw the MiG into chaotic, zigzagging 3G jinx, burning through fuel at a dangerous rate. 1 missile overshot, then the second, then the third. He survived again, but the spiraling smoke trails became arrows pointing directly at him. And then a new threat awakened. An old Soviet P-18 VHF radar, a relic from the Cold War, but still deadly. Its long-wave emissions bent over hills, catching just enough of Ghost's jet to expose him. A Tor M2 system in the area began, powering up for a kill. Then the GPS feed began to warp. A Russian Kashuga 4 jammer was interfering with the satellite signal. Ghost's JDAMs needed 8 satellites for perfect strike accuracy. His system now showed 4. But Ukrainian engineers had prepared for this moment. Ghost threw the MiG into a sudden vertical climb. It ripped upward from 164 feet to 15,000 feet in just over 20 seconds, the climb rate nearly tearing the wings off. A stall warning screamed through the cockpit. Up here, exposed in the open sky, he was the perfect target. But at that very moment, the Shark UAV transmitted one last encrypted GPS packet directly into the guidance systems of both bombs. It was all they needed. Ghost hit the release. 2 JDAM-ER bombs fell away gently, their wings unfolding like predatory birds gliding toward the distant hangar. Almost instantly, the Tor M2 fired. A 9 M331 missile shot into the sky. Ghost rolled the MiG inverted and dove into a split S maneuver, releasing a storm of chaff and flares behind him. The missile ignored the chaff and locked onto his port engine. It detonated less than 1,000 feet away, shredding the MiG with tungsten fragments. Engine 1's temperature spiked. Ghost shut it down. Half his thrust was gone. He was deep in enemy territory with a crippled jet. Far behind him, the JDAMs reached their target. They pierced the hangar roof, punched through 2 concrete floors, and detonated. The first explosion obliterated the support structure. The second ignited jet fuel, ammunition, and 16 KH-101 warheads stored inside. A fireball rose more than 1,000 feet into the night, so bright that orbiting satellites detected the heat plume hours later. Engel's 2 airbase was burning. Ghost, fighting a dying aircraft, leveled out at 800 feet. Fuel was almost gone. Hydraulics were failing. Ahead of him, the Saratov Hills hit a line of Zu-23 anti-aircraft guns that opened fire the moment he appeared, spraying the sky with a storm of red tracer rounds. He flew inside his own shockwave, the disturbed air behind his wounded jet bending the path of incoming fire just enough to keep him alive. 35 miles to friendly territory. Fuel for 30. Ghost chose an unpredictable zigzag pattern, adding 3 more miles to his route. His fuel gauge screamed it was a fatal mistake, but going straight meant certain death. The MiG dropped to 600 feet, 500, 400, each second a lifetime. Then his radio crackled. Ukrainian rescue teams had him in sight. That was all he needed. He coaxed the failing aircraft across the border and crash-landed it in a controlled belly slide across a friendly runway. He survived. Satellite images later confirmed the damage. 5 Tu-95 bombers destroyed, 2 hangars collapsed, portions of the S-400 radar network damaged, and nearly half of Russia's KH-101 missile stockpile wiped out in minutes. 1 MiG-29, 1 pilot, 11 minutes, a $2.5 billion loss. If you were in Ghost's cockpit with a Tor M2 locking onto you seconds before your bomb drop, would you attempt a high-G brake turn, or would you gamble everything on a perfect Doppler notch? Let me know your tactic in the comments. And if you want more breakdowns like this, real tactics, real missions, real analysis, hit the subscribe button now so you never miss the next operation. Think of it as your tactical signal to stay in the loop.